Hi, I'm Donna from Art Craft Crazy, and this is a follow-up video of a faux vintage notepad that I made. These little pockets go very nicely with this. So when you get the pattern for the notepad, you get these patterns with it. So do pop on over and have a look at the video that I've put together for you, showing you how easy this is to put together. Now this one's just as easy. They are two different style pockets. One fits a vintage or any size playing card. That fits that perfectly. Or you can put some vintage ephemera in there. That's the first pocket that we'll be making today. The second one is just a little tag pocket or a tea card pocket, anything you like, and it can also be glued onto the front of this one. It fits there nicely as well, so you can have a double pocket if you want it to have that extra bit of variation. So we've got two pockets. This one here has a scoop. There's two patterns. This one's got the scoop in the front and the back, and this one, which I haven't made up yet, has got the straight line across the back. So instead of it being scooped at the back, it's straight across, and it'll look like that. So we'll get started on these once you've cut them out. When you cut them out, I've just done this so we can get through things. Make sure you cut them out on the inside of the print line, because you don't want the print lines to show up on the edge of your paper. Now I've used a parchment paper, which is a matching paper to the notepad that I made on my last video. We'll make this one first. The instructions are really easy. I'll have those on my website as well as, showing you here on the video. So once you've cut it out, put your first fold line there and fold that up. That actually then becomes the back of your pocket. So when you turn it around, it'll be like that, and we'll end up folding that over. These flaps you need to score and fold in. So that's the first one. I just use my ruler, and I'm going to put my ruler straight up this line here, and there's a point there. You need to match them up. If you follow that line up here, that just happens there. It just falls in the right place. And just fold that up. You can do it by hand. I just like to use my little scan and cut scraper tool. So that's almost ready to glue down. But before we glue it down, when that's folded over, have a look and make sure that this is your front with the flaps on it. I'm going to fold that out, and this is where you would put your stencil on it if you were going to put a stencil on it. You can glue things on it, you can stamp on it, but do that before you make it up. So we'll just pop that on there. I'll fold it over so that I don't really get my stencil ink everywhere. I'll just use a little bit of scrap paper under here. I'm going to put my stencil down where I want it to go. I'm using a bundled sage distress ink because that's going to match, or as close as I can get it, it's going to match my notepad. I'm just going to very lightly, I'm going to start off heavier here, and then I'm going to blend it out towards the end of the page, or the edge of the tag, I should say, or the edge of the pocket. Now, you don't have to go too heavy-handed with this because this bundled sage can get pretty dark. So I want it to match that. So if I go too dark, it will, turn into a totally different color. So keep it light if you've got this color. Otherwise, use a color that's close as you can get to it. So that's it's pretty easy to prepare and stencil. Like I said, you can stamp it. You can glue something on it. I'll bring that back. And we'll just glue these pieces down. I'm just going to make sure I've got some glue right on the edges here, not too close to the edge because I don't want it to squish out and make a mess. And I'm just getting some glue up the ends. I'm going to fold the front back over it again, making sure that's lined up here when you do turn it over to the front. And then I'm going to just put my ruler at the top of the pocket and fold the flap over. Right, now that's how easy that is to make. Now you've got the option of putting a thumb punch there if you wanted to. You do that before you glue it down. So that's how easy that one is to make. Pop that one there. Now we'll make this one, which is just a little slot bag. This becomes your front. What I want you to do is, instead of trying to figure out where that fold line is, just line this up to be centered here. So it comes in just this tiny little bit. Doesn't come to there, to the edge of that. It just comes in just that tiny little bit there, about 1/8 of an inch. So pop that there. So it actually has to line up at the bottom here, and just fold it over. Because it's the parchment paper, it's really easy to score. You can score it with your fingers. I'll clean up that pencil mark. Unfold that again. Fold in the flaps. We're going to fold those lines. Let me see. Yeah, don't go to that corner. Go in that little tiny bit. So I might leave that folded down and use that front bit as my guide so that you know you don't mess it up. So it ends up just with that neat little top bit there, and then they butt up. So you've got those two squared off lines at the top. Now's the time that you would unfold it all and go ahead and stencil up the front of your pocket again. Now, I don't want to put any on the back, so I'm just going to mask that off. Place this back over. Get a little bit of colour, darker in the edge here, and then blend it out very lightly here. Okay, we'll fold it back over. I'm going to fold this one first because, I'll need that again, because whatever I slip down into it, I don't want it to hit that line there, that join. So I'm going to do this one first. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there to hold that together. Then I'm going to go in and glue all the way. Don't want any of that glue to come inside the pocket. So you can see there, I've glued all the way. Glue that flap to that first, just in the corner, and then glue the two down. Then fold it over and line it up. Another easy pocket to pop into your journal. And by doing the stenciling in a colour that matches the notepad, you get this lovely little matching set that looks pretty good in your journal. All you got to do is find a little spot for it and you're off and running. So do pop over and have a look at the video where I've showed you how to put this together and where to get the pattern from. There you go. That's just an example of where you could put it. That was my first example where I used it in this journal. If you want to have a look through this journal, I'll put the link below. It's a pretty long flip through because I do go through the pages one by one. I'm Donna from Art Craft Crazy. Thanks for watching and bye for now.